well, anyways, welcome back to ABA Generalized. I don't remember if I'm supposed to do the intro or if you were. What did we decide?
It was you.
Okay, all right, cool. So,
It was
welcome.
always you.
It was always you. So it's me and Ann today without G. We do have a timer
We're
running
gonna get in trouble.
so that we don't get in trouble. Producer G is going to probably just, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna do fine. So today we're here to talk about challenges of ABA part two. We did previously talk a lot about insurance and some of the other challenges that we encounter in ABA as a whole. I'm honestly blanking on what we had previously talked about. I know that
Same.
we went really into some rabbit holes. That's all I do really remember. And I feel like there's so much more to talk about when it comes to challenges in ABA. So, to get started, I think we should talk a little bit about RBT training and qualifications, not qualifications, qualifications. Uh,
Speaking of koalas, no, just
koalas.
kidding.
We actually train koalas to work with our kiddos. No, just kidding. That would be
That was
really
really convincing for a second.
All of our technicians are actually koalas in
Yeah,
disguises. No,
that's ethical.
talk about ethical violations here. Putting animals. Just kidding. Okay, well, clearly we have problems. This is why we need G.
I know.
Do we need to restart?
No, I think, should we just talk about our personal experience, like
Yeah.
getting trained as an RBT?
Yeah. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Sure.
You start.
Yeah, I
You
can
were an
start.
RBT way
So
longer than me.
I was the second RBT at our company because I started working before it was even a thing. So I was a one-on-one paraprofessional. We called it a personal care assistant. Or like if you had insurance cases, it was just behavior technician. And then specific insurances, I guess as the RBT credential was created, specific insurances, that was a requirement if you had a one-on-one. So before that, like when I started in the field, and this was my first time in the field, I just remember one of my first cases, it was in a preschool, or yeah, I guess it would be considered a preschool, like a private preschool. And the supervisor was not there, I don't think, or wasn't there initially. Maybe they came later in the session. I can't remember, but I did get to overlap with the one-on-one that I was replacing, and she kind of filled me in. But it wasn't very informative. And yeah, and then my first home case, I'm trying to remember if my supervisor came out for that too. And I don't think,
I
I
feel
think they
like
did, but it wasn't, I didn't feel very supportive when I first started.
supported.
Support, yes, thank you. I didn't feel very supported. Like, I feel like I was just thrown into the ring and was like, here you go, good luck. I remember I do remember this where I was with one of my clients, a home case, and we got through all of the goals like in the first hour. And it was, I think they were 2-hour sessions. And I thought, oh, I can just leave. We're done. Like if I can get all these goals done, I can go. And they were like, no. And I'm like, this is kind of important. You should probably tell your techs that like space it out, or, you know, so like even the structure of the sessions, that was never explained to me. Um, you know, I think having a task analysis of how a session should look would have been very beneficial.
Yeah, especially for like
Especially just starting out.
exactly what I was about to say. Like when you're first starting out, I mean, like it's come across my mind to create some session schedules for people sometimes, but I also like I worry that I become micromanagey and I don't want to like make I don't know, everyone's different, right? Like some people really need
Yeah.
it. And like I've experienced technicians in the past that do really need it. And like, especially when they're first starting, or if there's a lot of goals, or if there's just, a short amount of time, but like, and there's, or even a long period of time and you don't have enough stuff to fill the time frame that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to create those session schedules to help them like figure out how to navigate a session without being too micromanagey. And I try to avoid being micromanagey because I feel like how many times am I going to say micromanagey? um, I feel like I had a lot of free rein to my sessions, especially because and I had a very similar experience when I first came into the field. I was a brand new tech. I was not even an RBT until maybe I want to say like 8 months into working in the field, and I had no supervisor support the first day. I walked into a client. Well, okay, so when I first started, I was riding the van, a van from the client's house to the school, stayed with the client at school all day, and then would ride the van home with her. And then I would leave her house and go home. That was my routine, or I would go to class. So I didn't even come into the field until I was already in my master's program. I think I had already previously mentioned that in the previous episode, but I didn't have experience. Like I didn't know what I was doing. What was I walking into? I was going into a school that needed this client's support, and this client didn't really have a behavior plan in place. Our company, not our company that we had previously worked at, the company before that did not provide a behavior plan. Didn't provide me with any sort of data collection. I was just there as a warm body to help decrease behaviors and help her navigate her day, which is fine, but it's also not fine. But it was also not insurance paying for it. It was the school district paying for
Okay.
me to be there. So a whole different
Mm-hmm.
situation. But I also still didn't have any sort of idea what I was walking myself into. Like I walked in that classroom and was like, okay, what do I do? Do I need what am I supposed to do here? And so from that, I also had my very first home case maybe like a year and a half later-ish. Still with that same company. I had no supervisor come out with me the first day at all. And this was an insurance case, and like she didn't even come out at all for at least 2 weeks. So I was going out and trying to figure out what to do. All I knew was pairing, and that was the one that I had also talked about in a previous episode where I was handed the Superflex book and the BCBA had told me in the clinic, here you go. And then I went to the client's house.
How often were you seeing this client? Like every day for those 2 weeks? Or
I think I saw them twice a week for like 2 hours each, twice a week. And I was still going to like other sessions and stuff, but after that, like
Mhm.
it all ended up working out. So like I wasn't out of compliance with my RBT, but it was more of the fact of the matter, like I wasn't getting support there. So I had joined other cases maybe like in the middle of those 2 weeks, where I did have, clinic sessions and I was, within that competence of my RBT. But yeah, it was or compliance within the RBT. But it's
Mhm.
wild. Like I can't send a technician. I will not send a technician into a home, into a session without myself being there on their very first day. How like
Yeah.
you can't like how do you do that?
I know. I don't know if I've ever done that. I will say if I did, it would only be because I was confident in the tech
Right. That's also
and I knew that the client wouldn't be like the behaviors would be, not as intense or severe that I didn't think it would be an issue. but I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of when I would have done that.
Yeah. No, I don't recall sending anyone other than my more recent, like my student analyst that I have working under me. She's wonderful and I know her skills. She's been working with me for almost a year. So I know that if I were to have to, which I've had to send her out once or twice without me, like, and it was literally just one session because I was like, I can't make it this week, or I can't make it that
Mm-hmm.
day and I want you to start. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like everyone was comfortable with you going there, like her going out,
Yeah.
and it was fine. Obviously also making sure that the tech is comfortable with that
Mm-hmm.
as well. But another part of the challenge there is like making sure that you are also able to go out on your first day with your techs
Mm-hmm.
so that they feel supported. Starting with the right foot is important because if you start off on the wrong foot and you're not providing that support, then they're going to expect to not see you, or they're going to expect that you show up more often. Um,
Well, and also like it's important to build for the BCBA to build rapport with the techs too. And if you're already not supportive day one, then you know that's already putting a bad taste in their mouth. Like, oh, okay, this person's too busy for me. Like that's where my head goes. Is like, oh, this person's too busy for me. Not like, oh, they feel so comfortable that they don't need to support me. It's, oh, you're too busy for me, and now I can't go to you
yeah,
for help.
yeah. And
That's
I
my
mean,
brain. But
creating that relationship too is like super, super important, like you said. So, I don't know. I try to pair as much as possible with my technicians. Um, I also, as silly and goofy as I am on this podcast, that's me in sessions. You should see there's a wonderful
oh, I've seen
meme.
it in social skills.
There's a one, or not meme, there's a wonderful GIF, or not GIF. Oh my gosh, one of those reels. I don't know words. You know those like the videos of people like doing things? Yeah, the reels. I don't know why I had to explain that. But anyways, there's a reel of Leslie Knope and you might have sent it to me. Maybe someone else sent it to me. It's Leslie Knope and Ron Burgundy from Parks and Rec.
Anchorman? Oh.
No, Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec. Come
Wait,
on.
Ron Burgundy, isn't
No,
that
maybe it's not
Anchorman?
Ron Burgundy. Ron something. Hold on. Oh my
Ron
God.
Burgundy is definitely Anchorman. Now we're getting sidetracked. Here we go. Ready for
This
the
is
ride?
sidetrack number one. Let's see how long it takes us to figure this out, shall we?
I don't know
Okay.
Parks. I have barely seen Parks and Rec, so don't ask me the characters. But Ron Swanson, Nick
Swanson, thank
Offerman.
you. It was Swanson. Okay, now I have to find the video because this is me and my tack that I trust so much. If she's listening, she knows who I'm talking about. Um, we have the same name, so right there just gives it away. Uh, but I had sent it actually to her, and I was like, "This is us in a nutshell." And she was like, yes, that's unfortunately the two of us trying to facilitate sessions. Um, and it's like we are just wild and crazy and like to have fun. And either she spent way too much time with me or what. I don't know if I'm just rubbing off on people or if I'm letting people come out of their shells during sessions, but yeah, it's a good one. Um,
You're gonna have to find it. I'm
oh, I
horrible
found
at
it.
finding. You did already.
Yes.
Oh yes.
That's 1,000%.
Yep. You
And
have
then
to
Karen's
share
walking
that on
in,
our
being like,
page.
what is going on? So yeah. I'm gonna just send this to you now. So we have it
Okay.
for if we have to share it on our story.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were only sidetracked for a minute. But yes, so
Okay.
trying to just be as silly as possible too. Like I not saying that's what you have to be, but like not everything's always so serious in our field. Like we don't have to be like military drill sergeants. And I feel like, unfortunately, some people have taken it to that extreme in the past with,
Mm-hmm.
ABA. And that kind of goes into one of the other things that I had wanted to mention that I heard on an ethics CEU earlier today. It was that you have one bad ABA experience, and so then you think that every single ABA provider is bad. And so I think something that Anne, myself, and G are trying to portray here is to let people know that, like, just because you have one bad experience, give us another chance, because not every single ABA company, ABA provider is like the last one that you had. They might not be better. They might be better. You don't know until you give it a shot. And, you know, everyone has different experiences. And that's why we also really heavily focus on training our RBTs and being better BCBAs from our own experiences. So, Anne, did you want to touch on that one at all?
Nope.
Great.
No, I mean, I think you explained it well enough. Yeah, I mean, you can't, I don't know. It's like a bad breakup, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and the way that I think I was also explaining it to you earlier was like, if you, I think I explained it in roller coaster.
Oh yeah, because you were saying, here we go, tangent number 2 or 3 now.
I think it's
Yeah,
number
because
two.
you said you don't like roller coasters, and then I went on a tangent because we're going to Disneyland, and I said we're watching on YouTube, we're watching someone paging Mr. Morrow. He's hilarious. And he rides all the roller coasters in like Disney and Orlando, and you said you don't like them. And then what? I took one. What roller coaster was it? I need to know.
Okay, so shout out to my brother Brian, who would force me on all the scary rides, knowing that I was deathly afraid of like heights. I don't like heights. I don't like things that are fast. I don't want it to drop. I want to be on a smooth trip. That's all I want. If I'm gonna be on a roller coaster, if I'm gonna be on a ride, I want it to be smooth. Now, we might also have to cue the Tower of Terror picture about like right here, from my most recent trip to Disney
Which,
World.
but I'm with you there. I refuse. I will not. I will not try that ride. I refuse. No drops.
Okay, but anyways, going even further back, right? So like Brian forced me on rides when I was very little. I want to say maybe I was like 6 or 7. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, there is a place, I don't know if it actually still exists. I
You
probably
were
have,
in Vegas at 7.
my grandparents lived out there.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you need to say that.
I was just at the craps table. I was gambling away. I was in the slots machines, just putting in quarters at 6 or 7. It's fine. No, no, no. My grandparents had a house. They retired out there, so that's where we spent a lot of vacations, actually. If we were not in Disney or any of that stuff, or traveling to California or whatever, we were at my grandparents. Anyway, so a place called Circus Circus, that roller coaster should not have been existing. Whatever roller coaster the name was, I don't remember, should not have been in existence at all, because it was, I guess maybe I was so small. I don't know. I can't remember, but I like hit my head on the back so many times, and like it was just too
Is
fast.
it a wooden roller coaster?
I don't remember. Maybe I feel like Brian said that it was a wooden roller coaster, but I don't remember.
Because
All
those
I can
ones do.
say,
I mean, they do suck.
yeah, all I can
Even.
say is that that was one of the experiences that ruined all experiences for roller coasters. And now my husband forces me on all roller coasters and rides. And, you know, we went on Tron recently and it was great. But I was scared to death to go on it. But definitely that Tower of Terror picture would have been
Oh
already
my
shown.
god.
Um,
I think Tron is a Tron at Disneyland. I feel like it is.
I don't know. You shall see.
I'm gonna have to
Wow,
find out.
you really went sidetracked for a couple minutes there. Sorry,
But
people. This is what
it
happens.
went. It was a good simile.
Analogy, simile, one of those, right? Is it a
The
simile?
simile, like or as.
Sure.
That one bad experience in ABA is like one bad experience
Is
on a
like
roller coaster.
going
Wow.
going to circus and hating roller coasters for the rest of your life because you
Oh.
probably got a concussion.
Well, yeah, and okay. Well, wooden roller coasters just should be retired from the earth, first of all. And second of all, we also talked about off before we recorded that, like, it's like going to one doctor that you just were not comfortable with or gave you bad advice or whatever can ruin it.
Yes.
So it's very similar to that.
It's
There's
all
another
about
simile for
trust.
you.
It's
It
all
is
about
all about trust.
I
Yeah.
was about to start breaking into song and I don't remember how the lyrics go and I feel like there's a song about trust, but I'm just gonna
I mean, I'm sure there is, but you can always pull that whistle out and sing hot in here.
I don't have the whistle anymore. And you are just really messing around today.
I'm gonna get fired again. It's okay.
um anyways, back to ABA. But yes, so like in addition to all of that, so like because we're trying to create a better relationship with our clients and maybe you had a client come from another company that really was a bad experience, they're giving it a second chance. Well, then you really like you might experience burnout because you're trying to help them recover, right? Or maybe you have high intensity behaviors and you're trying to work through them. Burnout can exist, right? And I think it's important for us as a part of challenges in general to recognize our own burnout, which we had a whole episode about taking time to
Mhm.
yourself and all that stuff. So if you want to have a listen to that episode, we already had one a couple episodes ago. But I think also, it contributes a lot to our challenges in general is trying to kind of rebuild those relationships, kind of building from the ground up in a sense.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of price of ABA also, and
When G put this, is it in terms of how much it cost or define price? I mean, it is expensive if you don't have if you don't have insurance, then you're screwed. So,
yeah, yeah, it's not a cheap therapy. I think that paying out of pocket is a wild concept to me. Like paying for
mhm,
ABA out of pocket, because the way that Amanda even had said it was like, I feel like I said this also last episode, was that Amanda had mentioned if she had not gotten approved by insurance, they would have to take out a second mortgage. Um,
mhm.
which is absolutely wild to me to think that our therapy really costs that much money, and that we cost that much. Because I never would have ever imagined it. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
because we don't get paid that much. I mean, we do get paid well, but it's not
right,
what they're paying out of pocket is not all the money that we say.
right. It's astronomical in general, just because it's like what they would charge to insurance, they have to pay out of
Mm-hmm.
pocket. So if you can, I mean, that's a huge other barrier and challenge of ABA is the cost, right? It's costly. If you want therapy in general for your kiddo, like, or your adult or whomever is receiving services, um, it just gets so costly over time. But it's not only just money, right? It's also about your time in general. Time is
Mm-hmm.
priceless. And so you want to, I think that's the way I said it. Sorry. But
Time
like,
is priceless.
time is priceless. Wow, we really are gonna get fired today. And I think I've said a billion times too. So I
You're
apologize
fine.
to the
You're
people.
fine. To the people.
The people. Uh, there we go again. What was I gonna say? Oh,
Burnout.
so time.
Time.
So having quality therapy, right? And putting the time and effort into that. Also, in addition to that, the consistency of the therapy is also super important. So that's also another big challenge, right? Like we said last episode, um, making sure that the child and the family have the availability that we're medically prescribing, or else it doesn't really make much of a difference, right? If we
Well, yeah, and
can't.
like if someone's, I'm just thinking like if someone was paying out of pocket and then was like, oh, I can't pay for this week. It's not like the typical therapy you go to and then you skip a week, like because then if you're so inconsistent that your RBT now has to look for sub cases or even a new case, you risk the chance of losing that team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like it's kind of like a domino effect where, you know, if you have so many cancellations or like you can't pay for it consistently, then that RBT is going to look elsewhere for another job or another case. And then you're not guaranteed that RBT.
Right.
Does that make sense? Even like the BCBA, like how can you ethically stay on that case if it's not
If you're not
consistent?
having consistency, yeah. But we have a client on hold right now, and they're afraid of losing the whole team. And I've had to reassure and say, like, no, tech does not want off this case. I do not want off this case. You have to deal with what you have to deal with right now, and that's something that we want to respect. Versus, having inconsistent sessions and being unavailable and, just going through all of that. Why be inconsiderate of something a family needs right now, right? And push for sessions. That's where
Yeah.
like it also comes into like the quality of care and your what's the word? Your oh my gosh. Why I keep blanking on this word all day because I wanted to make sure that I like said it and I said it to the parent, but I can't remember what the word is.
Oh, well, you said it to the parents, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. It's all about being like caring and yeah.
Compassionate care.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew it was a
Oh,
double C. Yeah. So anyways, challenges of ABA. Knowing words.
woohoo! Yeah, yeah.
Literally. You should
Just
hear.
explaining ABA is a challenge in itself with all the acronyms and definitions. I mean,
Yep.
am I right?
Yeah, there's so much that goes into ABA as a whole that it's a challenge in itself because like you want to make sure that what you put in your plans too is not too um like
Technical.
yeah, like too technical. You want to make sure that you're using those layman's words and trying to make sure that everyone is understanding exactly what you are saying. So being clear, concise, and objective and all those fun things. But I feel like I feel like challenges just keep coming up no matter what and making sure that you have a competent person you are a competent person to be able to navigate them in a very compassionate care type of way, right, is most important. And if you're not providing, you know, the training for your technicians, if you're not being compassionate, if you are, not taking time for yourself, if you're not helping the case build and grow, then that's where you're gonna see more challenges.
Mhm.
I feel like the more trained our technicians are, the better the case is, obviously, and the better relationship you have with the tech. And I even said that in a previous episode as well. I feel like I'm just pulling from old episodes at this point, and my brain is just like, whoop, whoop.
Well, I think these things are important to, you know, sometimes you have to repeat things that really matter in this field. I mean, and I've said this before, we're dealing with real humans, and what we do is going to affect them and their lives. So like we can't mess around with it. We have to be very careful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We definitely need to make sure that we are taking care of what is important and being careful and mindful, right?
Yes.
Once again, it goes back to that compassionate care.
Yeah.
But anywho's, is there anything else that we needed to talk about in terms of challenges? Like I said, while many times, I don't know why I was going to say a while ago, many times, it's always going to continue to come up. So I don't know if there's anything else that you had wanted to touch base on regarding this. I know that the feedback we had gotten from couple people, I guess, maybe just on our story that we had posted from that poll.
Mm-hmm.
Every single state is so different and
Mm-hmm.
their challenges are so different from what we experience. So just because we experience something, you experience something in California and I experience something in South Carolina and G experiences something in Pennsylvania, does not necessarily mean that's something that you're going to experience in other places. You may experience more, what's the word I'm looking for? More challenging or more, what's the word? More,
All I'm thinking of is the claw from Toy Story.
no, why did that come to my mind too?
I'm
Um,
also waiting for like some sort of emoji to pop up on your
oh
screen
no, it
during that.
actually, it came up last week and it said, or on when we recorded on Sunday, it said that it's been disabled. So no more
Oh,
emojis
no
coming
more
up when I do
surprises.
things. Um, but yeah, I think no matter where you go, you're just going to see different challenges and just being mindful of how to navigate them. And we definitely want to hear from you, listeners, the people,
The
what challenge,
people.
the people, what challenges you guys encounter, because we all feel like these have been the most critical or the biggest challenges that we encounter.
Mhm. Yeah,
Especially,
and just know that like you're probably not alone in facing these challenges, and lean on your team to help you navigate them. If you're a technician, lean on your supervisor. If you're a BCBA, there's always someone higher up that you can get support from, or even your peers. Um, you can reach out to us like, hey, have you ever dealt with this? Like, how do you navigate this or that? I mean, we can't give you the professional advice on like specific clients, but just like, or if you're really struggling, I know a lot of people are struggling to even stay in the field because there's just been so many changes and negativity and pushback. And that can be stressful in itself. Like, you put your heart and soul in this and then you decide to leave. I know that's been pretty common lately. There's been a lot of turnover.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I mean, keep on keeping on, people that, oh my gosh, did you hear that thunder?
no.
Oh my gosh, it was
What's thunder?
loud. Okay.
Is
Um,
it
uh,
Burl?
I don't think it's Earl.
No,
No,
you're not
Earl's
getting
going
Hurricane
towards
Girl.
Texas.
Burl!
Oh, Burl. Yeah, Burl's going through Texas, I think, or towards
Yeah, it
Texas.
is.
We're not in the mix of that. We're more northeast. North.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Just east, I guess. I don't know.
North. I'm
What
more
is
north.
Matt's?
I'm not just east. I'm more the northeast. Okay. Once again, see, this is why we need G.
This is G would just be shaking her head right now.
She really would have
Let's
cut
wrap
off.
it up.
She really would have cut off half of these conversations.
She's yeah.
But anyways, hopefully you guys got something out of this episode.
It's all good. I'm gonna wrap it up now. Okay. Okay.
Do you want to recap?
So
Recap. Just a recap.
recap. Challenges in ABA sucks, but somehow we're still here. Because we love what we do. It's worth it.
It is.
um, if you have questions or just want to be on the show or whatever, or have feedback to give to us, email us at aba.generalized.podcast@gmail.com. Our Instagram is ABA Generalized the Pod. Our YouTube is ABA Generalized. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Is that it? And YouTube.
Yes. We are just on a
Good.
those. But also, we are looking for a opportunity to do a giveaway of some sort. So if you are
Yes.
listening and you want to work with us to do some sort of giveaway or, some sort of collaboration in any way, shape, or form, just let us know because we would love to collaborate and do something fun. We love to have fun, if you can't tell. So, ABA Generalized, the podcast, is not providing professional advice. Please seek a professional in your area for specific advice and support.